Hello, Bigfoot enthusiast. Scott here from Squatch America.
And Hannah, domestic goddess, shoe cooking doggy mama here in the paddy wagon tonight.
Welcome.
Looking scruffy. I'm looking scruffy tonight.
Welcome. Yeah, it's been a crazy few days here. Busy. I know you've been busy. So
I got the day job blues.
The day job blues, yeah.
Hello, Mark. I'm not even trying today.
So yeah, let us know if we can hear us all right. I think we can.
I guess it got up to 50s in the baker.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It was 81 in Texas today. So
glorious, simply glorious. And we'll be out of Texas before it gets nasty.
Yeah.
But then we'll be back in Texas while it's still nasty.
Yep.
So there we are.
Oh, thank you, Lee, for the 5x5. We're good to go.
So we've got Mark and Galen and Renee and Stacy and Gordon and Lee. Hello.
Howdy. So what we're talking about tonight is top secret. So don't share it with anybody. Oh,
it's part two from last week.
It's part two from last week. We talked about some interesting stuff we learned. Now, tonight, we're going to talk about what we have
what
learned
else we have
that
learned.
Works.
And what doesn't.
And what doesn't work. And over doing this for many moons. So shall we
get going with
that?
Squatch America, we're on the trail, chasing down the mystery through the rain and hail, with a knock on a tree and a howl in the night. We're Squatch America, gonna get it right.
All righty, we are back. Oh, look at this. We're trying out the new YouTube or the StreamYard studio stuff
Speak
tonight.
for yourself. I'm not touching it.
Yeah, it's like you get used to something and then they change it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, what are we talking about?
That's all on you, my friend. I got nothing.
You got nothing. All right. We are actually talking about what worked for us.
What has worked for us over the last 5
works for us?
What has worked? That's called the past participle.
I don't do the English stuff very well.
Actually, don't feel alone. Most 97% of English speakers don't do English stuff.
Yeah.
Did you know, all of y'all out there, you really don't know your language? That's another thing for another time. But I learned that last week.
My first language was hillbilly, so
that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Even English majors don't know English.
Yeah, true.
And that's coming from a linguist, and I am not one of those, but boy, he made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I do, Hannah.
No, I doubt it. Give me the 5 definitions of the word "to."
Hey, Scott, you should talk about what's worked for you over the years, and that's exactly segue what we're talking about tonight. What has worked for us and what hasn't worked for us, and what I've learned over the years to
compensate for everything we've done that didn't work.
Yeah, no, what we have found that actually has netted us results.
Not necessarily profit.
Oh, definitely not profit. There's no profit in Bigfoot. But so in order to flip my slides, I got to push another button here. There we go.
So many buttons now.
Anyway,
and I feel so claustrophobic here tonight.
I know. Why? The windows are open.
No, because I just feel cramped.
All right. So
all these editors that think they know the language.
Yeah, Renee said she learned Hick too. So Renee and I both grew up in the same little Hick town. So we both.
If you put an editor and an English and a language expert, like a linguist, in the same room together, who's going to win? I'm putting my money on the linguist.
Okay.
Because they know the real goods.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, it has nothing to do with it.
It has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight. So tonight we are going to, what's going on here? Why is there a blank screen? We're going to talk about what works for us. And number one thing that has worked for us is camping in the woods.
What a novel concept.
Idea. What a novel idea. So one of the things I like to call it, what's wrong with my slides? They're weirded out. Okay.
I think it's because you have like transitions between slides.
Yeah.
or
Oh,
something.
that's probably what the problem is. I don't know how to turn that off. Okay.
Just go with it. So get back to camping in the woods.
Okay. What I mean by that is, one, you have to go where the Bigfoot are. You have to camp in the woods. And secondly, I like to say it's going to have the blank screens between everything. I hate that. Okay.
You're on the wrong screen.
No, I'm on the right screen. Time on target.
Oh, okay. I'll shut up now.
In other words, spending a stupid amount of time in the woods and being out there. That's one thing that's worked for us. A lot of people will go out for, I'll go out this weekend, or I'll go out one weekend a month or stuff like that. I have literally spent weeks at a time in the woods. In fact, we camp pretty much full time anyway,
So,
but we spend a stupid amount of time in the woods.
but you got to be fair about it. A lot of our time camping in the woods is being in the paddy wagon, living in the woods.
Yeah.
And it's and even at campgrounds, like we are in the woods here. This campground is in the woods, but it's still a campground. It's still a campground. But I tell you what, 5.5 years ago, before we assumed this lifestyle, I couldn't tell one bird from another bird. I didn't know what things smelled like or felt like or anything. And now, even though we do kind of have a house that just goes with it, we're like turtles.
Yeah.
Speaking of turtles, you should tell them that story. But just being, not even squatching, but just being in the woods. Now I can identify birds. I can identify patterns in foliage, and I can feel weather shifts. And also I'm just so much more into with the natural order. It's a big difference. It's a much different state than I was. So even though there hasn't just been squatching, there's just been learning nature. Does that make a difference?
I think so.
Okay.
Another thing, what helps us to find stuff is when we're in the woods. Believe it or not, a lot of people go out and they go camping and they're up in the mountains and blah, blah, blah. But one of the things that I have found that has been successful for me is during the day, you got your night investigations, which I'm going to get to that in a minute. But during the day, I just hike near water. I follow creeks and streams. I've been doing it since the beginning of doing this. And I have been lucky enough to find footprints. How many times have we found footprints? 5, 6?
Yeah, I think I settled on 5.
5, yeah. I think
that's once a year.
Yeah, about once a year we have found a set of footprints, and by golly, all of them was near water. Imagine that.
Except for that one outside the main campsite. But see, there's water.
Well, there's water everywhere there. Yeah.
It's like a sponge that's saturated.
Yeah, I think the water table in Maine's about a foot deep. So yeah, it's maybe
might be an inch.
So I've always been near water. So that's one of the things I always do, because one, it gives you, everything has to go to water, and 2, water's where the mud is, and mud is what makes footprints. So it just makes sense. One of the things I've always been lucky is always just check the waterways. just walk up and down, and sometimes you got to get your feet wet.
So, Trackway wants to know if we're in Maine now. No,
No,
we're
no,
not.
no, no. We're still in Texas.
We have spent almost a year in Maine of the last 5 years, I think. Actually, about a year.
About a year.
Because we did 6
and 2 different times.
Yeah, we spent
6
a
months
year
twice.
over a 2-year period.
2 summers. Yeah.
2 summers and falls and anyway.
But
so
we are headed to Maine later this year. We'll
I'm
be there.
dragging him there by his sorry backside.
We'll be in Maine in
July.
Okay. Yeah. So, which beats being in Texas in July?
But we'll be back in Texas in August,
Yes.
which does not beat being in Texas.
All right. So the next thing is staying in known locations. That's the other thing. These creatures have habits, and locations are part of their habits. They have different locations they go to, but they always come back to locations. One of the things that was very interesting to me is when I watched back in the day the newsreels, when one of the interviews with Paul Freeman back in that day, one of the things he said just kind of struck me. I don't know why I pick up on stupid shit, but anyway, one of the things.
Watch your profanity.
Yeah, one of the things he said was, you know, I was going back to Duduk Springs because they frequent that in the spring. And if you ever seen his map, he had a Forest Service map that had everything he ever found marked on that map. And if you want to see it, it's hanging up in Cliff Barackman's museum in Boring, Oregon. And I've got copies of it. So one of the things he did was to look at locations. So one of the things I do now is I use the BFRO website and the Bigfoot mapping project. And I've talked about this 1,000 times, but go to places where there's been reports in the past, but be there when the reports are happening. Like if this always happens here every 4 years in June, then go there in June, you know, that sort of thing. So that's one of the things that has helped us in our success in actually having a sighting and finding the stuff we do. Like
if you get a report about Bigfoot, you know, being active near huckleberries, you're not going to go there in September.
Right, because they're gone by then.
Yeah. So
yeah, and another thing, that's another good point, is follow the food. So whatever's ripe. One of the things you do is in the springtime, at least this is what I have found in Eastern Oregon, where we spent most of our time doing this, is in the springtime, as the snow melts and goes up the mountain, up the elevation, at the edge of the snow line is where mushrooms start popping up. They kind of follow the snow line as it goes up. So one of the things we've done is always follow the snow line. You know, check out those areas and the waterways, you know, at the top of the snow line, because they're following the mushrooms as it goes up. Other animals do follow the mushrooms as they go up. And then later on in the fall, you've got all the huckleberries and in Oregon, you got huckleberries, wild onions, wild strawberries, and all that. And they come on at different times. So you got to find those patches of what's ripe, you know, and then find those patches and check those out.
I mean, you got to remember you're tracking a creature that's trying to survive. So go where it's going to be surviving.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. Cliff often says, "Come see the Boring Museum." Get it? It's in Boring.
It's actually a really good museum.
Actually, it is. Okay.
So welcome to the Wolf Hunter.
Well, welcome.
Have you had any luck with that?
Yeah. Oh, well, welcome. Okay. So the next thing is, we're going to talk about, it's not working. It didn't do it. Oh my gosh. What has not worked for us? We're literally like 10 seconds into putting this show up, and I was changing the slides here. So that's a problem. Anyway, so what has not worked for us?
Whoop!
Yeah,
That doesn't
calling,
work.
whooping
Well,
into the night.
Into the night, no, but we did have a really good whoop exchange a few years ago during the day.
Yeah, but we did not initiate it.
Yes,
Initiate it, not ignition, but
well,
it's kind of the same.
that's a story. That's another story for another day.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
that was some weird assery stuff going on
the whole day. Yeah, we're gonna have
Yeah.
to do a whole video on that day and talk about the weird stuff that happened. But
Oh, I've still got my YouTube video from that day.
yeah, I do too. Okay, so one of the things we've talked about ad nauseum on this channel is that our vocal cords and their vocal cords are completely different. We talked about this last week, that the whole vocal cord thing, and how they know for a fact if it's a human or not. So a lot of times they won't answer you, or if you get a whoop back, are you whooping in the woods and there's another dude down the canyon whooping in the woods, and you're just talking to another person. So that's something I quit doing a long time ago. I have experimented with playing the sounds of crying human babies, and we get some interest in that, but not always from Bigfoot, other animals and
the
stuff
other
like that.
the other thing is too, when you play a recording, there is a difference in a broadcast recording.
Right.
Even sounds
It
different
sounds
than
different.
an organic sound.
Right. Because you won't have the breath or the volume, all that sort of stuff.
Well, and you don't have the depth. It's like the difference between an original and a photocopy.
Right.
So anyway, yes, Pappy says listen and watch for changes in wildlife patterns.
Yep.
Which we experienced when we were camping a few years ago in Granite.
Yeah. When things go quiet, that's when things get interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things we do. I was going to try to change this, but I'm just going to proceed.
Just live with
okay.
it. Oh, yay.
Another thing that hasn't worked for us is knocking on trees. I used to keep a baseball bat in the truck, and when they said it's not Memorex. True, it is not. That's another thing that I have done and occasionally still do. But after talking with a few different Native American people who tend to believe that the knocking on trees is a warning that Bigfoot does, we've had always thoughts, well, maybe they're trying to locate each other, so why would they whoop to locate each other or knock to locate each other? Why do two things for the same thing? It's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't make sense. But one of the things that the Native Americans tend to believe is that the knocking on trees are them warning you,
get out.
This is my territory. Get out. And other primates, apes, do a lot of that same thing. It's kind of a bluff charge, basically, or a territorial thing. And that makes a little more sense to me. Like if they're whooping to locate each other, that's one thing. So that makes sense. If they're whooping, they can hear each other's voices and they know each other's voices. So that's one thing. But the other thing is, if they're knocking on trees, that could very well be a territorial warning. So if we're getting to learn their language, I guess, put it that way, if you're knocking on trees, you're doing a territorial warning saying, hey, stay out of my territory, or hey, I'm encroaching on your territory, and are you challenging them by knocking on trees, stuff like that. So
Okay. Well, you know what? It's 20 after. You know what that means?
I don't know what that means.
Yes, you do. Pick something, any something.
Pick any something.
Introducing Squatch Off, the all-natural bug spray made for Bigfoot hunters and outdoor adventurers, formulated to disrupt insect hormones, making you invisible to pests. No harsh chemicals, just nature working for you. Repel the bugs, not the Bigfoot. Stay bite-free, naturally. Join our Indiegogo campaign today.
And if that is, put us on the screen. Not that way.
What the hell? That thing's not working right. Okay.
Anyway, if that address is too crazy for you to remember, which I wouldn't blame you for a minute, if it was, just go to squatchamerica.com and we're the first thing you'll see. This is a little tester bottle of our very own proprietary, which means you cannot go to Rite Aid and buy this under another label. We did not slap our label on a bottle of whatever. This is our very own blend. And here's what makes it really unique. The ingredients of this you will not find on store-bought products. It was formulated specifically to protect us against bugs and to protect bugs against and nature from us. And so I'm super excited about this. And we tested it again yesterday. We were out near the bogs, and guess what's hatching in the bogs down here right now? Little mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And
down here in the south, they're called bayous. So
whatever. Well, mosquitoes are mosquitoes anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, he sprayed this right on, and he came home and no bites. Normally, he'd have 15 bites in like 5 minutes. So the stuff works. I just want to thank Renee and Lee. So if you haven't backed our campaign yet, the campaign literally is going to our first production run. So go to squatchamerica.com and you will see a link right there. Can't miss it. Okay.
Yeah. It's the Minnesota state bird. It's also the Maine state bird too.
It's their state bug.
It's their state bug.
And I think possibly Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yes. Thank you, Stacy. So anyway, and that's one of the things I like about it is because I have developed such a respect for nature. I mean, I love that it's not killing them. It's not some chemical thing that's going to do damage to our atmosphere. It is literally totally natural and it totally works. And you can either spend $8 3 times on 3 cans of off that won't work. Or you can spend the same amount of money and back our campaign.
Yay team.
For a bigger, and the bottles that you're getting are twice this size, by the way. They're not little dinky things. Yeah. These are just testers. Okay.
All right. Moving right along. Okay. So one of the things we also found that doesn't work for us is baiting them with food. People put out apples. They put out
deer like apples.
I know.
Raccoons like apples. And
bears like apples.
Bears like apples.
And putting out jars of peanut butter,
Nutella trap.
And the Nutella trap. I actually have one and
didn't work.
We haven't had success with it. But I don't open the jar. I don't let the scent out. I just, as a visual thing, the jar's in there if they can reach in there, and I made it so you had to have hands to reach in to pull the jar out. Which doesn't mean Bigfoot couldn't do that, or it's just I haven't had it in the right place at the right time, basically.
But baiting with food in a place where everything wants your food, that's kind of dumb. Right.
So yeah, so one of the things we haven't had luck with was baiting with food.
Yeah, Wolf Hunter's right. Yeah, there's just too much that wants that food.
Yeah, there's too much that want it. And if you put cameras on it, you'll see deer, elk, and bears and whatever else get in your food. You probably won't see Bigfoot getting it because they avoid cameras. So we talked about that last week too. Actually, we talked about that last Friday. If you go back and watch our Footprint Friday video, our Mythbuster video is I talked all about that. So next is trail cameras. Same thing. They avoid those like the plague. And if, like I said, if you want to go back and watch our video last Friday, I'll put a link in here somewhere on that. We talked about how they can see those bright shining objects with their IR lights on them. You know, I can even, you know, I have sucky eyesight, but at night I can even see the IR. I can't see the IR light emitting from it, but I can see the glow of the IR lights in the camera.
Do we want to have a stand down on who has worse eyesight?
Yeah, no, not even close.
Says, do you see that bird? And I go, where?
Where?
Right over there. Show me where to put my eyes.
Yeah.
And even then, it doesn't work.
So.
Jonathan, welcome, Jonathan, the Sasquatch wizard from the Adirondacks.
Oh, hi,
It's
John.
possible the lack of success baiting supports the theory that they've got a low population too.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Absolutely
I'm
right.
down with that.
It's like a golden corral in the middle of nowhere is going to attract no one.
So,
pretty much.
Right. So now we're going to dive into a completely different subject.
It's my favorite.
Evidence. And what I have found to be evidence and what is not. So here's some of the things I wanted to talk about is today, in this new day and age of the dawning of AI, and
we thought it was just the age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
We're at the dawning of the age of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Age of artificial intelligence.
Yeah. So one of the things about that is, yeah, it's going to, I believe, well, even earlier when Photoshop was a major thing, which Photoshop is about out of business now, by the way, in case you didn't know that, because of AI, is the fact is we can no longer, and I hate to say this, we can no longer trust images, videos. I've been toying with it. If you see some of our Footprint Friday videos, there's a lot of video with Bigfoot in it, and those are all stuff I've been toying with Chat GPT and with Sora, which is another
it's an
AI video program where you tell it, hey, I want a video about a Bigfoot walking across the road in front of my car. And it goes boom, boom, there you go. There's a video of a Bigfoot walking across in front of your car.
I think it's so much fun.
Yeah. So sadly, unless we're out there taking pictures with film cameras and video with Super 8 film, it's going to be kind of hard to distinguish from this point on what's real and what's not.
That brings up a really good point, I think, because in this day and age of AI, people are so scared. Well, it's going to take away our jobs, or it's going to, you're not going to need people out there because you can just have drones flying around or whatever. But I think actually what AI is inviting us to do is to go back to old school and get really good at it.
Yep.
To really
and I've looked into it. Film cameras, you can still get Kodak film, and you can still get it.
You can get 35 millimeter cameras.
Yeah, you can still get 35 millimeter cheap on Marketplace. But another thing I found, though, if you can get the 8 millimeter video cameras or some of the older like 16 millimeter film cameras,
like that Patterson Gimlin had.
Yeah, or even going back to using like VHS tape or S-video tape cameras might work well. There's some really good ones out there still to this day, which you can't fake it on the tape, is what I'm saying. you can fake it after you get it off the tape and into the computer. You can do anything you want with it, but the original video, I might go look for a Canon. What was those?
You had one. You gave it away.
I know, but I used to have a S video camera.
Yeah, you did.
I had a couple of them, but I might go back and look for one of those, and because you can still get the S video tapes, they're not too bad. But I looked into like the 8mm video, film, and it cost $45 for 8 minutes of film. So technically, that's going to be super expensive to film with.
Oh, there are great AI topics. We can come back to those.
Yeah, we can come back to this
because I've definitely got an opinion formed here.
Yeah. So another thing we can't trust either is, I hate to say this, audio recordings. There's something called synthetic voice cloning. To give you an idea of what that is, I want you to listen to this beautiful band who played this song for us. The entrance, the opening video for our live shows is this. Listen to this.
Squatch America, we're on the trail, chasing down the mystery through the rain and hail, with a knock on a tree and a howl in the night. With Squatch America, gonna get it right.
I love that.
That was completely AI. A computer made the music, made the voices,
wrote the words.
I typed in, hey, I want an opening for my live show.
Here you go.
Here you go. Then that was like, 20 seconds later, boom. You can download this, and here's 17 versions of it. Pick which one you like.
That was a week of, if I hear this one more time, I'm going to poke your eyes out. Pick one already.
So that's another problem we have with audio recording now, which is ridiculous.
But here's the thing. With the synthetic voice cloning, all you have to do is put it through, what's it called?
I know there's some kind of AI tracker thing that.
No, not that. You can, if you put it through, it's what David Ellis uses.
A spectrogram.
Spectrogram. That's it. If you run it through a spectrogram, if you run an AI through a spectrogram and an actual recording, it's still going to ping differently.
Yeah. Because
it doesn't have the overtone. There I go. It doesn't have the overtone sequence. So but that's what you would be looking for if you're a serious expert in that field. Your average Joe person scrolling Facebook and YouTube and all that, and 97% of people out there just fall for whatever they see, which is why I wanted to say, don't believe anything you hear on the news. Even if it's 1,500 of the world's brightest scientists. I don't trust them either way. By the way.
So
moving on.
Anyway, I hate to say that I believe photos and sounds for us in the Bigfoot world are pretty much worthless today. Which is good. I know that sounds weird for me to say that's good, but it is good.
Because we got to up our game.
Because that makes us up our game. So what does that mean?
Or change
for the Bigfoot research? I'll tell you. One, we got to change our approach of what we're doing out in the woods. We've been knocking on trees. We've been whooping into the woods. We've been taking blurry pictures. We've been finding footprints, was still a good thing, I think. And we've been hoaxed with footprints. I have been hoaxed with footprints. Well, I've been tried to be hoaxed with footprints, but they didn't succeed. But
they were kind of cute.
But there's another hoax out there that we're still debating about. But we got to change our approach, and what can that be? We got to get back into firsthand encounters. We got to do
you got to get back into the woods.
But one of the things, firsthand encounters and eyewitnesses, though you can have 10 people see the same thing happen and they'll tell you 10 different stories, but those 10 different stories all have something unique in them that helps put the pieces of the puzzle together. So that's one of the things I always think about.
So you're saying we've got to get back to hearing people's reports
We got to
and doing the qualitative research.
Yeah, doing the qualitative research. That's one of the things we have to do, because we can learn more about them from encounters than you can knocking on trees and whooping into the woods at night. You can take all that information and use it. Another thing we need to delve into is DNA. I think that's our next great hope.
What about chromosomes?
Chromosomes, yeah. I didn't put that in here, but thanks for reminding me. I should have done that. What was his name? Anyway, I don't know. The professor
he was one of Jeff Meldrum's colleagues at Idaho State.
Yeah, he's a colleague with Dr. Jeff.
I forgot his name.
But we've talked with him, and
he said go back further than DNA.
You go back,
pre-DNA.
Go pre-DNA and go back to chromosomes, and then see what we can find there. And that's a great idea.
And chromosome testing is not nearly as
expensive as DNA.
It's far more accessible.
Yeah.
All right.
And another thing I'm going to talk about is multiple evidence finds. In other words,
hey, your buddy's on.
Follow up. Hey, Scott.
And Nikki's on. Hi, Nikki.
Yeah, and follow up. Follow up on your evidence. I meant, I didn't put pictures in here, but one of the things that I have done is, like, when I had my sighting and I got that one photo of the Bigfoot, my blurry Bigfoot photo, which I think I have here.
If you're a Bigfoot enthusiast.
Oh, that's not it. What did I do with it? This one, here it is. This blurry Bigfoot photo. Actually, that's the original photo right there. I didn't stop there. I didn't take that picture and then like freak out and like go try to get on CNN or whatever. I went back there for a week. We found
nesting areas.
We found footprints where they were standing. I found a whole trackway going up a hillside. We found broken limbs. We found a scrape mark where the juvenile's footprint went halfway up this hillside, and the mother's footprint went, mother or father, but probably mother, went all the way up the hillside. But halfway up the hillside, there's this little scrape mark in the mud where, like a toe drag, and then nothing after that. So the juvenile mom picked him up halfway up the hill, stuff like that. So we got casts of all that. We searched for hair on every single piece of brush that might have walked by, and stuff like that. So
basically you're saying you need to do more forensic work.
We need to do more forensic work. We need to, if you have a sighting, go back and take a picture of it not there. Scott Goebel, that's one of the things. He got a picture of a Bigfoot up on top of the mountain, and he and I said, dude, did you get a picture of it not there? He goes, damn. So he had to go back and get a picture of it not there. So that's one of the things you need to do is do your forensic work, do multiple evidence finds. I mean, we can't just find one thing. We gotta be able to put all the puzzle pieces together. So one of the things is you need to go back and make sure where it was standing. Go find where it was standing, where you got your photo, where you had your sighting. Maybe you didn't get a photo, but you had a sighting. If you go to that spot, is there anything disturbed? Hair, footprints, all the things. So track. Yeah. Scott said that was funny. He had to drive 8 miles back.
And did he get
yes, he got the photo of it not there.
Okay. And so, is that the one on top of the
on top of the mountain?
Wow, yeah, that was pretty awesome. Chockley says have a minimum of 2 cameras always running and 2 audio recorders always going. My thought was with the 2 cameras running, I know we're talking about cameras, like we got to get away from that so much, but if you've got 2 cameras going from 2 different angles, and you're catching somehow miraculously the same thing, then you've got, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I can see.
And here's another one, the UV light search for urine. Absolutely. And that, thank you for bringing that up. I didn't mention that, but yes, we do have a pee finding flashlight. No, we do.
Fantastic.
Yes. We do have a UV flashlight that I use on everything we find to see if we can find any biologicals. Another thing, actually, Scott Goebel taught me, who's in the chat here, is we were up in the Cascades, and there were some down trees that were kind of leaning over like this, and you had to walk under them. You had to bend over and walk under them. Well, he started checking underneath the bottom of the trees, because if we had to bend over to go under, somebody else had to bend over to go under it, and we found hairs dragged on the bottom of the tree. We collected those, and I'm working on trying to either figure out how to do it myself or find somebody reliable that can do the hair analysis that will do it. There's several people out there I've sent hairs to, and
Nothing.
Never heard back from him. Dr. Jeff is one of them. So he's got three hair samples that I have sent him, and he's never replied yet. And I've reminded him, he goes, "Oh yeah, I'll get to that." You know, he's
no, he won't.
Yeah, no, he won't.
Let's be honest.
So that's one of the things.
I can hardly remember to send an email, so I can't judge him too harshly.
Yeah.
All right.
So the last but not least, this is going to be the hardest one of them all, and people have been trying to do this for years. We need to find that elusive dead body.
With that said, we do not need to cause the elusive.
Yeah,
dead
yeah,
body.
you don't need to cause the. Yeah, we don't want to do that. But you know, from Native American reports of them burying their deads in rocks, that's one of the things I'm going to start checking out. Scree fields and things like that. We have a dog that loves to sniff things out, so hopefully
everything.
Hopefully she can get on that. But that's going to be the hardest thing ever. People's been trying to find that body for years, and I've done videos. We've done videos about talking about how, I mean, you got to find this needle in the haystack within 9 days of its death before it's not there anymore. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of variables in that one. So hey, I'm not, but
Jonathan said that he would see if he could connect you with Cindy Dawson, who did his hair samples.
Yeah. Yeah, please do. I know who Cindy is. I haven't not sent her things. And, you know, my friend Shane Corson told me he would connect me too, but that has not happened yet. So
again, I can't judge these people.
Yeah.
We're all so busy.
Yeah. So I'm going to look into that. So the next thing on my list is, what are Squatch America doing now? What are we doing now? What is Hannah and I, and what do we suggest for all our Squatch Americans who follow us and are part of this group? What are we doing? One of the new things we're going to try, I actually did a video about this too, but is implementing, that's not the right word, is it?
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
It's supposed to be implementing, but I don't spell, and spell check doesn't get it right.
We use ChatGPT, but obviously you didn't.
No, I didn't. So we're not going to put out, I have trail cameras.
We've got nice trail cameras.
I put those out around the camp sometimes I put them out facing the camp, but way back in the woods, so you have to walk by the camera to get there. And another thing I have done is tape over the IR light and then put a motion light, like the ones you get at like the dollar store, those little ones you can put on your house. It's got a little solar panel on it, LED light that comes on when motion's in front of it. I put the trail camera up, tape over the IR, put up the motion camera, the motion light. And so when something walks by the camera, it triggers the motion light and hopefully the camera will take a picture. We have not had any luck. I'm wondering if I got to do some more testing on this, but I think that the trail cameras don't use the IR to trigger. And if the IR light's not on, they won't trigger. So I'm going to work on doing some maybe tripwire triggers.
I'm just wondering if
thing.
they're smart enough to say, hey, look, there's a trail camera stuck to that tree over.
Yeah, that too. But Scott and I's had luck with the motion sensor lights coming on. We had a little Bigfoot guy hiking around our camp at night, and we found his footprints the next day, but he avoided us like the plague. But he did trigger our motion lights. So, and there's a video about that back there too somewhere. Anyway, so one of the things, and what we're doing is we're with my implementing our audio tracking thing and not using trail cameras is this. This is what the dastardly plan is. So
look, it's a topo map.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, what I have here is this topo map. Maybe I can.
And someone mentioned topo maps earlier in the
Yeah.
hour. I can't remember whether it was Stacy or Lee.
Right. So I'm going to make this a little bigger. Okay. So what this is I'm going to take these topo maps and we're going to find places, and we put out 3 recorders. So we got 3 recorders out there, and we're going to set them up within a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile apart, at least, maybe even further. And the thing is you got to sync the timers on them, which isn't that hard to do, but you can sync the timers on them so the clocks are all exactly the same. And once you do that, when they pick up a sound, you can take this sound in this triangle, and it takes a little bit of math, which I use ChatGPT for. I can just say, hey, blah, 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 figure this out. And it does. But anyway, so what happens is when you get this sound, like we get a whoop or a tree knock, it's picked up on all 3 recorders. So if you look at the time codes on it, like say this one is 0.02 seconds and this one's 0.03 seconds.
And the other one's 0.05.
And the other one's 0.05 seconds. What you can do is you can do math to triangulate this, and the computers can do it really fast.
And the Hannahs can do it not at all.
Yeah. And it'll go, boom, that's where that sound came from. Exactly. So we can go back to that area and look for footprints, look for hair, look for DNA, do all the things.
So that will give us an area to focus on.
Yes, that'll give you the pinpoint of where that Bigfoot was standing when he made that sound on your coordinates. So give or take 15 feet with most GPSs. So if you have ever there's one thing that I've been doing for a long time with GPSs, and it's a lot of fun, is it's called geocaching. I don't know if you've ever done it. It's a lot of fun, but there's a website.
Should do that again.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
There's a website, geocaching.com, I think it is, and people hide stuff in the woods or hide stuff in different places, and they put the coordinates on there, and you take your GPS and you find it, and it usually has a logbook and say, hey, I found it. So this is basically geocaching, and usually within geocaching, what we found it's been GPSs can get you within about 15 feet of a thing, and we have a coordinate, and that's why we've figured that out, is doing geocaches, because you could do the geocache walk. You get to the coordinates and you start walking in circles to find what you're looking
And
for.
even with that, there are some geocaches that we never found.
Yeah, so that sort of thing. So what you can do here is you can be able to calculate where this sound was.
All right,
Okay,
you're
so
looking. You're looking. I can't drive your mouse.
I wanted to answer the questions. Okay.
Okay. I think passive thermal reception might be a way to watch an area without detection, unless they can sense the EMF field the electronics generate. And actually, we think they can.
Actually, that's a possibility.
Mhm.
There's that one, and though that may work, I do have a thermal trail camera that I can deploy that we're going to start testing out to see if that works. But the problem with it is I haven't figured out. It's complicated. It's complicated.
It might
And
be
I'm
why
trying to
the
figure out.
company went out of business.
Yeah. But what it is it also had the infrared camera and also had the regular trail camera, and I'm trying to figure out how to shut that off. Okay. And
Wolfender says, "Well, put it up on the screen, silly."
this one here?
Yeah. Does it only record certain sounds? What if a possum went up the tree and fell out and hit the ground? Is that a big
So that's where we're going to use our own intellect. And if I can hear a possum falling out of a tree or something thudding on the ground near one of the recorders, the other recorders are probably not going to pick that up because it's not loud enough. So we won't be able to triangulate that. So you can kind of figure, yeah, that was probably a possum falling out of a tree.
All three of them catch.
That's the difference, because you got the distance. So it's got to be loud enough for all three a half a mile apart to detect, which would be a very loud whoop or a tree knock.
Yeah, and that would be evidence of possums. We got lots of possums here. You know what else we got here that scared Daisy out of her skin? Armadillos.
We got armadillos here. Yeah.
We came across an armadillo not too far away from our campsite, and she literally lost her shiznickies.
Yep.
Had no idea what that thing was. It was so funny.
Yeah. So,
right.
So along with our sound location thing, we're also going to try our luck at, where's one says that one. We're going to try our luck at finding DNA. I think that's probably our next thing, is once you find footprints. So we're going to use the sound location to find where it was standing when it whooped. Also, we're going to check rivers and streams and stuff here. So we're going to spend a lot of time in Texas next year. So it's kind of new to me, this area and the terrain and the foliage.
And why are we spending a lot of time in Texas next year?
We talked about that last time.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're going to be talking about that in a few weeks. Anyway, we're going to do a whole show on it. Yeah. And our weird foghound. Yeah. We heard some weird foghorn sounds, which is weird. And I heard it again last year. We were up there. By the way, Scott, we're coming your way in
October, November.
I don't know if we can get in the mountains in November, but we can give it a try. We're going to be in your town. So the thing I want to talk about is finding, if you find footprints, there's a chance of finding hair. If you find hair, there's a chance of finding DNA. I think DNA is our next great hope. There's a drawback. Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah. But one of the things about this is what we're going to be doing is still spelled this wrong, implementing our audio thing, doing historic surveys. That was the next thing on my list. My slides got all messed up. I'm really upset about it. We're going to do historical surveys. That's one of the things we're going to be doing here in Texas next year.
That's kind of what Mark Marcel did. He did historical.
Yeah, that's what Mark, and I'm still in this for Mark. Hey, Mark. Anyway, we're going to start doing historical surveys. In other words, look up reports in the area and try to get information from them. Maybe try to track down the people who had the sighting, if they're still around, that sort of thing. and doing our own. We do town hall meetings where we go. We're going to be probably implementing more town hall meetings to get more reports from people and try to figure out a historical survey to figure out where these things are and when they are there, basically. And then another thing that's really hopeful these days is environmental DNA. In case you don't know what that is, there's a new system of being able to like take a vial of water out of a pond, and they do a DNA analysis on it, and they can tell you every type of creature that has ever drank from that water. So that's one of the things we need to do, start working on. So that's one of the things I want to implement, is start finding these bodies of water and doing environmental DNA.
That costs a lot of money. Let's get to some of these.
Well, hold on.
He's really trying to finish his slide.
That was my next slide. Was as soon as I win the lottery, we'll be able to do the environmental survey thing. So what did you have here? Some of the questions.
Okay, so first of all, we've got Trackway. When are we coming through Ohio?
Right after.
We have to go.
Well, right after Wisconsin.
We have to go through Ohio to get to Maine, so it'll be probably early June.
Early June, yeah, like the first week or two of June.
But where in Ohio?
Yeah, just let us know. We'll find you. Okay. You can email us. Please email us, and so I got your contact. I may have it. I just don't remember stuff. So,
but guess what? He started taking. We are not sponsored, but he started taking MCT to help with that brain fog.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead and email us. It's squatchamerica@gmail.com, and I will keep in touch. I'll try to keep in touch. What is the other one you wanted to?
This one. So I saw a video of someone, believe it was a thermal camera, putting on sunblock. It makes me wonder about Squatch sebum, if it's a sunblock. I think their hair is a sunblock.
Yeah, it could be.
The sebum or the hair?
Well, I have got one thermal camera photo of a possible Bigfoot. And that was that night that I was with Scott, and that was the Bigfoot that triggered the motion sensor lights. So we started scanning the woods with the thermals, and I got one, what I think is it's kind of a blurry thermal picture. But the interesting thing about that is the only thing that really showed up well on the thermal was the face, the hands, and the feet. So anywhere there wasn't hair. So that's a good one. Scott says, game on. I'm with you, buddy.
Okay, because let's see. I think what Ak is saying is that having a sunblock, even a natural sunblock, might make them blurry or hard to pick up on certain
Absolutely. Cameras. And yeah, on certain cameras. And the other thing, like we talked about before in a couple of videos back on my Fridays, about the hair, the way their hair is, it doesn't have a core in it, so it might vent heat even faster. It's semi translucent, so it could cause all sorts of havoc with different equipment. Anything else?
No, keep going down here. You just scroll so fast. So use the left and right channel readings on the spectrogram if you're recording in stereo to determine the general area your vocalizer is vocalizing when triangulating your recorders. There was a lot of multi-syllabic words in that. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yes.
And
totally agree.
Yeah. Trackway, have you been catching clicking? I have 2 recordings from 2 years apart that have me intrigued.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
That's kind of a primate thing.
Well, there is clicking.
There are tribes,
but there's also birds that click too. So there's that.
There are birds that sound like electronics beeping.
Yeah, do you know what? It's hilarious. They have mockingbirds here
all over the place.
all over the place where we're at. And, you know, they mock other birds and make sounds. And since these birds are in a campground, they got really good at imitating the sounds of the RVs. RVs have several different alarms on them. They have like a
like
the gas alarm that tells you if your gas is leaking. The propane leak one, and it beeps a certain way. Microwaves, when you push the buttons, they have a certain beep, and most all of them have the same microwaves. So these birds, I heard something going beep, beep, beep.
How long did you scour the camper?
I was looking around, what's beeping in the camper? And then I opened the window and noticed it was louder outside. And it was a freaking bird out there mimicking the beep of whatever he heard, something beeping in one of the RVs. It's hilarious. That was today.
All right. So, yeah. Jonathan also said that he got some clicking at times. He thought maybe it was a mouse nipping at the recorder, or a mechanical
that could be too.
malfunction.
Yeah, that could be too. If you got recorders out there, sometimes animals chew on them.
Michelle wants to know if we've ever asked ChatGPT where Bigfoot is. Do you want to be honest?
I haven't.
What? Yes, you have.
I haven't asked him where it is. I've asked him what it thinks it is, and it thinks it's a hoax, by the way. But
anyway, Trackway says that the Oregon Bigfoot Conference is in May. Send us the deets on that. But we've got the CapCon.
Oh, the Ohio Bigfoot Conference.
But that's what I meant. What did I say? Oregon?
Yeah. It's in May.
Yeah.
March, April, May.
But May, we've got CapCon. So send us the details on Wisconsin, CapCon.
I know, but
that's where we're going there.
I know that, but I thought that was March, April, May. Yeah, well, it depends on what part of May it is. Though we're going to be in Wisconsin the last weekend.
We're going to be there most of the month.
Yeah, because we got to be there the end of.
We're taking veterans
May
camping
for a veterans
on
outing.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, with Lee.
So
it's the first weekend of May.
Yeah, it might be a possibility.
That might be a possibility. Yeah, send us the info and see if they want us to.
Maybe we could just go to a conference to go.
Yeah, we could. That'd be fun.
Like we never do that.
Not have to be on stage and talking to people all day.
Yeah, or we could just have a booth.
We could do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll look into that. That's your job. Take a note.
Oh gosh.
So
I gotta look it up. Right. I don't know.
On time. Oh, we're
you got a clock right above your.
I know we're done. So lastly, yeah, Scott also said we recorded a train in the middle of the woods, nearest train track 30 miles away. So over 2 hills, mountains. So this is what we're doing in this new day and age. We're going to be implementing, which isn't spelled right, our audio recording system, triangulation. We're going to do historic surveys. We're going to try to do some environmental DNA surveys. We're going to do live witness investigations. We're going to do some cognitive research. I forgot what I put that down for. Oh my gosh, help.
I don't know what you want from
I don't
me.
know. Anyway.
What do you want from me?
Oh, we're gonna do some forensic interviewing of people.
Okay, there you go.
And that's what we're going to be doing. And then we're gonna do our normal camping in the woods and just hanging out and let Bigfoot come to us. That's where we've been the most successful. I wanted to put that out last. Our most successful Bigfoot trips are us camping in known hotspots, just
Humaning.
Just sit there at night
Peopling.
and listen. And things like that's going to happen. And Finding Direct says, we got mail. All right. Awesome. I'll check my email.
Have I ever tried to do meditative remote viewing of a research area? I have got to be honest. I have no idea how to remote view.
Where's that?
That's Gordon. Right there.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yes, but I know people who do. I know that the she squatchers do.
Yeah, they do that all the time.
Uh-huh.
So I am more interested in sitting there with perhaps a steel drum and just going. That's what I want to do. I need to get me a drum. We need to dump out this trailer. We've got too much garbage.
Yeah, we do.
I don't have room for a drum.
All right.
All right.
So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And I talked hardly at all, so.
Yay, team. No, just kidding.
No, you're not. I know you.
All right. So anything less things for the good of the order?
Go to squatchamerica.com and support our Squatch Off campaign.
Yep. And you can email us at squatchamerica@gmail.com and go to squatchamerica.com if you want to do that. And I think we're going to start giving away some prizes here later on. Maybe some of these can come your way and you can test them out for us. And that smells good. It doesn't smell like crap. So.
All right. I'm falling asleep now. It's my bedtime.
All right.
And if you want to have a discussion with me about AI, that might blow your mind. I'm all down with that. I've moved on from the alien Bigfoot hybrid to let's talk about AI.
There's something very wrong with her. Okay.
You just disappeared.
No, I did. No, I didn't. All right. So thanks a lot, folks, for joining us tonight.
Please like, subscribe before you leave.
Is it next weekend? We're not going to be here.
No. Next Wednesday is a travel day.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be driving next Wednesday, so we may not have a show.
We'll let you know. We'll do something. We'll have something.
We'll have something. And then the weekend, 2 weekends after that, the first was second, third, whatever. Anyway,
we can't tell you.
We'll have a big announcement coming up in April, the first week of
April 2nd.
April 2nd.
So with that said, please remember that
I can't find the button.
Yes, our job is to investigate the unexplained,
not to explain the uninvestigated.
So again, please like, subscribe. Thanks for spending time with us. You keep watching,
and we'll keep squatching.
Now, go out and find
that damn Sasquatch.
They're squatching, they're searching, they're cracking some jokes. It's Scott and Hannah, your Bigfoot folks. From campground to forest, they're keeping it real. It's Squatch America Lab. What's the Bigfoot deal?